All right, now, we're still in the first segment to this lesson, message. I really don't like to call these lessons. Why? Because I'm extremely humble enough to know, and that's really what this lesson is about. I'm extremely humble enough to understand that all wisdom comes from Christ. Everything. All of it. Okay? Now, allow me to continue with the first segment. Or shall I say, let me finish the first segment. So the basis of this argument was to all of my women, and I love you very much. Okay? Just a woman in general is a beautiful creature. There are even women of other nations who are very beautiful. I've seen some beautiful Caucasian women. I've seen some beautiful Indian women. I've seen some beautiful, full, complete Hamite women. I've seen some beautiful Japanese women. Some beautiful Arab women. Right? But the Israelite women, from our so-called African American sisters to our Caribbean sisters to our African sisters, right? Many of you are very gorgeous. Okay? And my wife has my ideal body structure, right? From her breasts to her behind and all of these things. And when you're passionate with your woman, the likelihood for her leaving you is very slim. The more you love her anatomy, the better you are with her. And that is the likely way to keep her, along with being strong in other areas as well. But let me finish this here, because this lesson is titled Broken Record. And you're probably thinking, why in the hell are you calling this lesson Broken Record? Well, it's actually a tricky name. And you won't understand why this lesson is called Broken Record until the very end of this message. Because I know, especially women, many of you, when I have two or more half-hour increment lessons, you don't follow through to the end. A lot of men do. And a lot of you are ashamed to watch me. There are a lot of women that don't want to watch me around their men. And there are a lot of men that don't want to watch me around their women. Men for egotistical purposes, because you don't want to learn from me. And especially in the presence of your woman, it might make you feel some type of way. Because every man wants to know everything. And women, because you may say, well, I don't want him to think that I'm watching him, I'm listening to him, and blah, blah, blah. But if you both can humble yourself from both reasons, why? Because I'm only given wisdom that I'm given from Christ. In every dispensation and in every cycle, there has always been given a prophet. I am one of the prophets, one of the disciples that are given unto you Negroes today, so that you may repent and live. Now, many of you will not take heed. Many of you men will not shatter your ego. And the majority of you women will continue to do as you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do, is what you say. I do what I want. Thou do what thou wilt, was the whole of the law of Alex de Crawley, a well-known Satanist. When on his hospital bed, right before his death, his words were, wait a minute, something is terribly wrong. What's going on? No. Because there's life after death that you all don't take seriously. And you all should take very seriously. lest you die and burn in Gehenna. Now, let's make this a little fun. Once again, the title of this message is Broken Record. And we're still in the first segment of this message called the 2/3, where women outweigh men 4 or 3 to 1. And 68% of us Israelites must die. Now, top 10 most wickedest women that has ever lived. Well, I'm going to say of the Bible. Top 10 most wicked women of the Bible. I'm going to give you all my top 10 most wicked women of the Bible. And let's start off with the women of Samaria. Okay? Now, during this era, right, the Jews and the Samaritans had formed like a mutual hatred society, right? Before Yahusha encountered the woman by the well. Now, Yahusha encountered a woman from Samaria by the well. Now, he had a conversation with this woman, right? And he had revealed to her that she had had multiple love affairs. Okay? And while he had revealed to her that he was the Messiah. Now, she was likely a floozy, right? Or as what would we call today a smut, right? So, he pretty much told her that, hey, listen, you have more than one man that you're dealing with. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you why that's wicked. Now, I need you women to listen very carefully. Okay? The woman is plural. Wife is plural. And it's feminine. Meaning the woman can be of more than one. And man is, or husband is singular. And it's masculine. There's always only one man in the picture. Solomon, now don't get me wrong, this is absolute insanity. Okay? What I'm about to say. Absolute insanity. Solomon had 1,000 wives. That's foolishness, right? It's imbecilic, right? Solomon, it just goes to show that he wasn't as wise as he thought he was, right? Because that's ridiculous. What are you going to do with 1,000 women? It's insane. But in any event, he was just one man. He was one king. Though his wives were many. Never will you ever see that the other way around. Not even one woman and 100 men. Not even one woman and 2 men. Well, you do see that. That's the problem. Because that's what society has begotten today. This is very wicked. Okay? Men coming in one after another behind one woman. Those men are also transferring energies from you. Okay? The woman gets her energy from you. Women get your energy from us men. which is the reason why you see a lot of you black women, or any woman that's doing this, having multiple partners. You see that they label it, they call it something like bipolar, which is a very foolish and false diagnostics of the mind. You women it would perceive someone, it would appear to someone that you women have multiple personalities, specifically you black women. That's because you have multiple partners. Now, let's go to number 9. By the way, my life is far from perfect. I don't have a perfect marriage. Now, I'm just being honest with you. I'm telling you the truth. Christ knows I'm telling the truth. I'm not having any problems with my wife right now. I haven't had any problems as long as I'm faithful to my wife for the most part, there's really no issues. I'm smooth sailing. Okay? The only time I have any issues from my wife was previously, during some mistakes that I made. Other than that, it's smooth sailing for me personally. Now, I'm not trying to say, oh, my marriage, because I don't want to try to throw that in somebody's face. Because certainly there are better marriages than my marriage. Certainly, there are men that have better marriages than me. That have better marriages than me. Salute. I salute you. Okay? But I just wanted to say that because I don't want anyone to think. Now, these things that I'm about to read are not my problems. They're not my issues. So I wanted to just say that I wasn't perfect before I said that. I'm reading these things is not oh, that must be him. That's him. No. These are just my top 10 wickedest women in the Bible. Okay? Number 9, Gomer. Now, many of you that don't know the scriptures and are novice in the scriptures, you don't know who these people are. But for you all who study the scriptures, and for you teachers, and for you people in learning, then you understand who these people are. Number 9, Gomer, married to the prophet Hosea. Pay attention, okay? Gomer was the woman who was married to Hosea, the famous Hosea. And, you know, she abandoned Hosea to have multiple partners. Now, you all have a term today. It's called simp. I don't use it. You all have a term today, and you use it. You call it a simp. And many of you, that use a legal term called beta to describe Hosea, and I would agree. Now, I want you to pay attention. This is one of the most interesting ones. Now, she led the family to a financial ruin, and she was forced into slavery to clear and satisfy the debts. Right? This is how wicked she was. She left Hosea to have multiple partners and owed some debts, and then was forced into slavery so she can clear the debts. So you know what was happening to her while she was in slavery too, right? She was getting towed up by them cats. Them cats was training her, probably doing all types of things. These is biblical women back in the day. So it goes to show you the things that have been, there's nothing new under the sun. Okay? And it's going to say here, and I say, so she had to satisfy her debt. Now, here's the crazy part, because despite her wickedness, despite her betrayal, despite her treachery, Hosea Hosea rescued her by settling her debts and welcoming her home. Now, she learned the true meaning of love through this. But let me explain the purpose of this. Okay? Now, I could never do what Hosea did. If my wife cheats on me one time, it's over. Just once. I could never do what Hosea did. But I'm not Hosea, right? Just like you men out there are not me. This woman is not that woman. That man's not that man. We all have things that we can muster, right? That we can stomach. Okay? I can't stomach this. But Hosea did. But let me tell you who else is a simp. I'm not going to call him Beta, because I might not make it home. But you all use the term simp. Well, let me tell you who else is a simp. Christ. You know why? Because Christ did the same thing that Hosea did. The ancestors of you Negroes, and you Negroes to this day, you commit adultery. You commit fornication. You smut-ass Negroes and Negroettes to this day play the prostitute with different multiple gods. And Christ, with opening arms, is still trying to receive you Negroes. So Christ is a simp too. But the scripture says, God, Elohim, will not be mocked. See, y'all not going to mock Christ. You mock him now, but you won't mock him at the throne. You won't mock him when everything hit the fan. You will not mock him during your calamity. Number 8, Lot's wife. I don't know her name. I forgot. Did they mention her name? Anyway, Lot's wife. Couldn't find her name, so I don't. That's not the only person. There's a lot of people's names that aren't mentioned in the Bible. Okay, it's obviously for a reason. Now we all know the story of Lot's wife. She lived in Sodom with Lot. Now, Sodom was a homosexual city, but it wasn't just a homosexual city. It was also a city that was unhospitable. They were wicked people. They did all types of satanic ceremonies. There was all types of abomination eatings, pigs, and all types of other things. So it were orgies going on, men on men, women on women. There were rich people that would take the poor people and let them starve. Sodom and Gomorrah and the surrounding cities were just wicked cities altogether. Sodom had a lot to do with the homosexuality that was going on there, but just the whole situation. And then you have to understand that these cities, they were wealthy cities. Lot's wife, just like many of you women out there today, you love the lights, camera, and action. You are very carnal and you don't want to leave your lifestyle. That's what happened to Lot's wife. She knew that when she went with them, she was going to be in poverty, having to live in caves and so forth and so forth. But don't you all understand that there will come a point in time when you won't be safe in your house? You're going to have to go to and fro, city to city, just to survive. All the survival tactics that you can possibly earn and gain, we all should be doing these things right now. Now, let me not be a false prophet. Let me not be somebody who is speaking something that I'm not doing. And let me be honest. There's a lot of survival tactics and things that I'm not practicing right now. But I intend to practice them very shortly. Because that's part of preparation and it's going to be a part of survival. But Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt. Why? Because she didn't want to leave Babylon. She didn't want to leave the lights, cameras, and action. She didn't want to leave her lifestyle. But it's going to come a point in time when you women who are married to spiritual men, and a time of trouble cometh, you should take heed into what he says. And when he says, take this, and take this, and that's all we need, and let's go, get the kids and let's go, because now is a time of survival, you better not look at that big house and that swimming pool and that Mercedes. You just better go about your way, what your husband saith, so that you may live. Don't look back. Number 7, the Witch of Endor. Yeah, she was known as the Medium of Endor. And she made a living by conjuring the dead in order to predict the future. See, all of these things are true. Just like, listen, let me not get into that. But a lot of these things that you see in the movies, you think is falsehood. Let me tell you the biggest deception of the movies. The greatest trick, pay attention to what I'm about to say. If this is corny S-H-I-T, dumb S-H-I-T, nut S-H-I-T, leave. Leave. The biggest deception of the movie theater is the greatest trick that Satan ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist. When you see these things in these movies, it causes a desensitization, which makes you think that these things are only non-fiction. Are only fiction or non-fiction, because fiction means real, right? So, or does fiction mean? They always got those confused. So, basically what I'm saying is that a lot of the things that you see in the movies are true. You can find them or an account of them in the Bible. So the Witch of Endor was a woman that practiced divination. And to practice divination is just as bad as being a homosexual. It's just as bad as selling your soul. It's impractical. So she practiced necromancy. And I believe this was during the time of King Saul. I actually think, now Saul forbade what she was doing. Yeah. Saul forbade what she was doing, but Saul was a wicked king because Saul actually knew she was doing it. Because before he went and died in battle, he went to her the night previous to get a divination on whether or not he was going to survive. He was killed anyway. Okay? Number 6, wicked ass Delilah. Now, all of these women are not African American women. Some of these women are African women. Some of these women are women of other nations. So, to my sisters, this is women in general. This is not just all of you. In fact, to be honest with you, it's like 50% of these are foreign women. Delilah was a foreign woman. She was a Philistine, which is something like an African, right? You all know who Delilah is, and you all heard of the story of Samson. When she she begged him day and night, giving them pieces of pussy, giving them all types of good loving and sex. And Samson, here's another simp. You call these, simp is what you call him, right? Here's another one, Samson. Now, I wouldn't call Samson beta. He was a very strong, mighty man. He was certainly not beta. He killed 1,000 men with the jawbone of an ass. Nothing beta about that. But he was certainly a simp, wasn't he? Because he told Delilah his secret to his strength. He told her that if she were to cut his locks, he would be as weak as any other man. And she was paid a hefty price by the other Philistines to gain this secret from Samson. And she begged him day and night. Right? Before he gave up the secret. Okay? Potiphar's wife. Now, many of you women can put yourself in some of these women's shoes. Potiphar was an Egyptian king. And there was a man named Joseph, a brother named Joseph, okay, whom was sold into slavery. He was under Potiphar, and his wife was attracted to him. And she put this man through all types of stuff to get the eggplant from this man. He never slept with her, though. But if you all want the details, it's a really good story. Then you all could, this is why you should read the Bible, many of you, because the Bible can be exciting. There are many nice stories in the Bible. This is one of them, okay? And Joseph was now, I'm nothing compared to Joseph. Now, I would never sleep with another man's wife, okay? I'm not saying that might not have happened in the past. And I'm not saying that every man that does that, a lot of men, the women don't even tell you that they're married. But I certainly, it's not in my blood to do such a thing. But Joseph was a man who was damn near perfect. I'm nothing compared to Joseph. And many of you Negroes today, not even many of you congregation leaders are anything compared to Joseph. Joseph was as upright can get. If not as upright, probably equal almost there with Abraham. Or if not equal to Abraham. Joseph was an extremely upright man. So upright that, and this woman, and Potiphar's wife was a very beautiful woman. Egyptian women, you know, are beautiful. And I'm not talking about the modern looking Egyptians today with the straight nose. I'm talking about the dark purple chocolate Egyptian women that were back in the day. The original, then they don't have them like that anymore. Beautiful, just beautiful. Joseph resisted this. But Had it not been the man's wife, he probably would have fell victim. But he was upright in his heart and spirit and didn't fall for her propaganda. All types of shit. She tried to get him, just read the story. All types of shit she tried to, excuse my language, all types of stuff she tried to do to this brother just to get the eggplant. Wicked, wicked woman. Some of you women are like that today. You'll do stop at nothing for another woman's husband. Repent. Number 4, Herodias, who was the granddaughter of Herod the Great, she married 2 of her uncles. Herodias was a woman who married 2 of her uncles, Herod Philip I and Herod Antipas. And that she was a very ambitious and rueful woman. If you all can remember the woman from Chronicles of Riddick, this woman was something just like her. Her and another woman that I'm going to mention. This woman was a very ambitious and rueful woman, and she hated John the Baptist. Whoo! This woman couldn't stand the Apostle John. She was out for his ass. John couldn't walk, sleep, or eat without this heifer wanting something to happen to him. She despised John the Baptist. Why? Because of her marriage. He was saying things about her being married to her uncles, which is against the law, by the way. That is it's fornication. Actually, it's an abomination, because she is not supposed to uncover her uncle's nakedness. I'll be right back.